First time in my life that I've been using Amazon.
Yeah.
They wrote me back and said, we can't, there are just no copies of this book. We can't get it. Hope you find it somewhere
Are
else.
you for real?
Yeah. Can you believe that they don't have it?
You went.
No, it's a book. I wish. It's a book on Henry VIII.
I was gonna say you should have let me guess, because I was either gonna say you were too deep down the Anabaptist well, or you went too deep down the Anglophile well. And
I did order a book that I never knew existed by Thomas Helwys this morning, called the something of iniquity. Anyway, it deals with Baptist ecclesiology. It's a guy that was writing on his doctoral work on ecclesiology.
So that's my question: is are you doing your next doctorate on Henry VIII? Because it seems like you've been doing a whole lot with him.
No.
Recently.
My wife will not even let me get the words out my mouth about in another class.
Do you want the words out of your mouth?
I would love to do a master's in history at Cambridge.
You're already a master of. Oh, you want to go? Oh, okay.
I wanted to do one at Cambridge.
Wow. She wouldn't let you do that.
No, she
though.
just doesn't even let it. She's not even
going to hear that.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. Well, what you could do is just say, well, you could just drop her off in the mountains for a couple of years. She loves it up there.
I'm going to leave her at the beach for 2 weeks, down there with the grandkids.
There you go.
At Christmas.
So,
So,
okay. She's going to stay down there for a while.
but I don't think I can do it all in 2 weeks.
What are you going to, is she going to leave the dogs with you? Are you going to have to do all that yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's
Yeah,
just
that's
cruel and
right.
unusual.
And naturally, I'll have to put up all the Christmas when I get home.
Yeah, you'll have to put it all away.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come over. Just make me come up. We can do it together, both of
We
us.
put it, Hannah, she says, now this goes in this closet, and this
We can
goes in
turn it.
this, and this and goes in.
You got to put away the special salt and pepper shakers. That's always the thing with me. I'm just like, why?
She hasn't put up that much because we're leaving Christmas Day.
Oh, okay.
But what she has put up, I've got to, what she has put up in the house, I've got to take down and put away, so.
Did she put everything up already? Because what's the
Yeah,
rule?
she has.
What?
No, listen, she said, look, we're leaving Christmas Day. I'm putting the Christmas tree up so I can enjoy it for a while. So that was up back in September.
Wow, that's really something. Did any of you guys put up the Christmas stuff that early?
I kind of like doing it on Thanksgiving Day or the day after Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving just feels late this year, though. Why is that?
It is late.
So
It's
like,
really late.
the 28th. It's not normally that late, is it?
No, it's generally.
How does that work? Is it the last Thursday in?
The third, isn't it? Isn't it the third
No,
Thursday?
it can't be the third because there's not another Thursday after. Are there only 3 Thursdays in November? It's the fourth
Well, that's
Thursday.
the third Thursday.
But it is?
Yeah.
The third Thursday of November is the 28th?
One,
It's
two,
mathematically
three.
impossible.
The fourth.
It's the
It
fourth
is.
Thursday.
The 28th. Yeah.
Thought I was losing my mind. Are you trying to? Pastor's doing
it's
some
the
calendar
third
gaslighting
Thursday
to me
after
over
the
here.
second Monday on the.
Yes.
You gotta-
that was Easter this past year. I was just like, it's impossible to figure out Easter,
It's
and
late this year due to the leap year.
the leap year made it later.
Oh gosh.
I don't understand. So does that mean was the first
Well,
day?
will
let's
Easter
look
come
at the,
early this
get the
year?
Get the
This coming
calendar
year?
out. So that was the problem. Halloween, the 31st of October, was a Thursday.
Yeah.
So that means this is mathematically the latest. This is the latest that Thanksgiving could possibly be,
Yes.
right? Otherwise, it would have been backed up. And I guess the earliest it could be would be the 22nd. Is that right? Get those numbers on my desk. We're gonna solve. We're
I
gonna.
gave you the answer as to why. That's. I'm not doing math.
The reason that it's late this year is not because of the leap year. The reason that it's late is because what is the first? Like, what day of the week is the first day of November?
She's not doing math.
This is
I
what-
can't do
It's on
math.
its latest possible date. The holiday
Latest
always
possible.
occurs on the fourth Thursday of November.
Right.
The dates differ based on leap years. We
Yeah.
had a leap year in 2024.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
no, it just moved.
Easter's
at one day.
coming kinda
I
late
disagree
this
with
year.
that whole premise. That's one of those AI-generated summaries at the top of your Google. Everything. Now, don't slam your computer and frustrate. Do you see what's happening right now, Pastor? Don't slam your
Get
computer
your
and frustrate.
people under control.
Get this team, reel this team
Some
back
people
in.
won't be helped.
Oh gosh. Well,
We saw-
Easter's coming late this year, right?
It is.
Again, I
Lord
mean, it was
willing.
late last year.
No, it was super early. Remember, it was like
Was it?
It was like March 31st, right? We talked about it for like 3 months. I
Oh,
can't believe how
okay.
how early Easter is. And I remember getting frustrated about the school calendar. I started mouthing off about the school calendar to all the choir, and little did I know the person that makes the school calendar was seated in the alto section. So I shouldn't have ran my mouth about that.
Well,
Got myself into a
2025 is on
kerfuffle.
April 20th, and according to
April
our
20th
research,
that's nice and late. I like
the
that.
Easter date depends on the ecclesiastical approximation.
Now that is
of the
true.
March equinox.
That's true. It's like the first. It's something to do with the full moon, the equinox, and then, some kind of pagan ritual that, I'm just saying that to get a rise out of pastor. I'm just joking around.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's what you find. You find Easter. It's like, and most of the world, right? It does still has. They have the Gregorian calendar, but they still have their old lunar calendar alongside.
Well, Passover is based on the lunar calendar.
Yeah, well, that's
and
how
which
things
is
were.
what Easter's supposed to be based on. And then you've got Orthodox Easter, which is always,
Always very different.
yeah.
It was an entire month of difference this past year. I think it was
Yeah.
May 5th, and our Easter was March 35th. But it's either 25 or 26 that they're the same day again.
Well, is that
It's nice
right?
when it's super fun when that lines up. At least for
Well-
our family, because we have some Orthodox in our
I
family.
don't know if we're doing any, are you serious? You have an Orthodox in your family? Or Eastern Orthodox?
Yes. I thought we talked
From-
about this before.
No, are they?
No. They're converts. It's my wife's sister's family.
Okay, okay.
He's about to be ordained as a priest within this next year. It's gonna
And
be-
what church, I mean, Romanian,
Well, it's
Russian,
It's kind of
Ukrainian?
it's kind of a conglomeration because they're part of the Orthodox Church in America.
Armenian?
So they actually have a lot of Russians that come. It's St. Simeon Orthodox Church. It's in downtown Birmingham. They have a lot of Russian people that actually come to the church.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
The young woman that played cello for us numerous times, she's in California now studying the cello, but her family is actually a member of that church. I went
Is
for
she dissecting it?
I went for dissecting the cello.
Studying which
Did I say that? Studying the cello?
Oh, golly, it's Monday morning. Are we on this thing
Sadly,
yet?
yes, Pastor. It's been it's reunited and it feels so good. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks.
It has been.
Pastor's over here making cello anatomy.
Cellist.
Cellist.
Cellist jokes.
So I don't even know what I was talking about, but yeah, her family's part of the Eastern Orthodox
Okay.
Church there.
Well, that's
I was at my niece's baptism and I saw her and like gave her a hug and I was like, wow, it's so cool to see you. And then she's like, are you a member here? I was like,
Are you kidding?
I didn't even know how to answer that question. I mean, anyway,
Yeah, don't you see me all the time?
I'm here all the time. It's just like my in-laws. I tell them that all the time that you
Now,
think
they
they're
should be
joined-
Baptists. They really should.
Leah, are you watching this? You
They
should be a Baptist. My mother-in-law.
I feel like they have heard enough Baptist sermons, they qualify.
Well, she's going to a Catholic. She goes to the Catholic church with her husband, and they're trying to convert her. And she goes to the Conservative Methodist church on Sundays, and then she's got a charismatic Bible study that she's going to, and she's coming here.
Well, she's really,
I told her, I said,
she's
Mom,
got to really be confused.
I said, Mom, no, it's a child. I said, Mom, you've got all your bases covered. You are definitely going to heaven.
Oh, golly.
You have got it down. I love her. We would have been, our whole, if it weren't for her, our family would have been down the tubes this week. She's been really helping us with
Good.
the new baby and everything.
Well, good.
She's been hanging around. We had everybody there yesterday. Did you see that? We had Mama and all 5 kids and a mother, and it was all there.
No,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't.
ever really pay attention to, generally, I don't pay attention to who's out there.
Yeah, I
don't think about it because I got my mind on
you got your mind on the right things.
the other stuff.
And it was a good day yesterday. I had one of the special moments for me was I filled out my commitment card.
Yeah.
And I gave it to my son, and I said, "You're the man of the house. When I go up there to play the piano, you got to walk this card down and
Good.
take it in."
That's a great thing. He'll remember that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
He really took that.
I
he
saw,
took it
I
seriously.
just had the corner of my eye because I'm generally praying. I saw a little girl come down with her dad, and I thought, what a great teachable moment for children to bring them down when you make a commitment like that. I think we miss real good opportunities so much of the time to impress things on. We were talking about this at lunch yesterday. We were invited out to a Sunday school class, had their lunch in a family's home, and
Oh, good.
I was talking about, it was some of us at the dining room table, and they were talking about tithing and all, and I said, it's never been an issue for me. I've never thought about it. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's good for me to stop sometimes and think about,
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? But from the time I can remember, my dad put an offering envelope in my hand, with a quarter or something in it, and that's the way he taught me.
Right.
And then, of course, my dad, at 12 years of age, started writing me a check. I got my first check from my dad working there was like maybe it was $1.54. I can see his writing in my head. And he said, now, you know what you do with the first part of that?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, sir. And that is to take a
the-
tithe
take
out
the
of it.
15 or 16 cents,
Yeah. So
That's what I'm trying
so
to
it's never been an issue for me. Debbie's daddy just did it for their family.
Right. Right.
I know he tithed.
Yes.
Because he sat down and asked me how, why is it that you Baptists don't seem to run into financial troubles over the summer? And I told him, I said, well, you never taught your family. I had to teach your daughter how to tithe. And I said, you've got to get them when they're young. Teach them this when they're young. So I know I've told that before.
Well, you have to not
losing my mind,
not just philosophically, but also
Yeah.
like if you have a budget and you're using every single cent of it,
Yep.
and you tell somebody, no, you have to give 10% of that
Yeah.
to the church, they'll lose their minds. They're like, I don't know how I can do without this, because it's entrenched that they spend every single cent.
Well,
that
that's
they
what
have.
that's the whole thing. That's kind of what I said yesterday, is that nobody understands. How can you tell me that I give 10% over here and that that it's going to be better for me financially?
Right.
I can tell you that, but you're going to have to experience it. You'll have to experience. And then there's some, that's never been, but I don't understand because it's never been an issue for me. It's just always been a part of what I've done.
I like the way that you talked about it, like even in a counseling situation, because you'll have people, they wonder why, maybe ends aren't meeting, or maybe why they're in disarray spiritually.
Yeah.
And you talked about how down the line those pastoral questions eventually get to like, well, what are you doing with your money?
Well,
Is that a
if you
stronghold for you?
discipline yourself to give a tithe, it means I'm going to discipline myself with the rest of it. And that's the whole issue there, is most people are completely undisciplined in the financial area
It's
of their
scary.
life.
It's scary.
They don't live by a budget. They don't understand a budget. They don't know how to budget. All they know is, let's put it on this card. Let's put it on this card. Let's put it on this card. And credit card debt in America is just astronomical.
Yes, we are, in America, we're sick in multiple ways, and a lot of people are
That
very
is so
financially-
true.
A lot of financially
That's-
sick.
That's a prophetic word right there.
It's interesting. It's interesting though because, well, you were talking about how you put it on the card, that sort of thing, push it back, and so people are like, well, I don't even have this money in my pocket in the first place,
Yeah.
where I could give it. And you talked about, and speaking of prophetic words, you talked about like you need to ask yourself the question: if you're not tithing, if you're not giving to the Lord, you need to ask yourself the question, is it because the Lord is intervening to not let you He's trying to get your attention in this way. I felt like that's where you were going.
Yeah,
with it.
well,
Help me
you know,
finish
God
that thought.
collects on that is what I was saying, and that is, you just keep running into multiple issues, financial issues, and you know, that's the number one reason marriages generally break up.
Yeah.
Is over financial issues.
That's a big one. Huge one.
I had a couple one time. This is no joke. I had a couple one time that they came in and she was talking about. She says his spending is just his spending, not
Right,
hers.
right.
His spending was just outrageous. And so I talked to him about, you know, giving all your credit cards. Why don't you let her hold all your credit cards? Why don't you begin to systematically, you know, we go through the
Right.
whole thing of all of that. They come back in, and she says it's worse now than before. Come to find out, he has a box in the trunk of his car of credit cards he had applied for and got. So he just kept going to the back of the car and getting
Are
another
you
credit card
kidding
from.
me?
Yeah, I don't even know how credit card companies do that.
Yeah, you
just
think
getting-
that'd be illegal? Like
That
lock
was
them
in the
out or
trunk,
something.
and she just walked out. She just basically said, "That's
You're
it. I'm
addicted to
I'm
this."
out." You
Yeah.
know, and I never saw him again. I could never catch back up with him. I never could get a hold of him. You know, but
You know, when Jesus talks, people quote that like you can't serve two masters. But
Yeah.
when Jesus is talking about that, he's specifically saying you can't serve God and money at the
well, you
same
know, he
time.
says more about money than he does about heaven.
He does, and a lot of people gloss over that, and then it's ironic that they, you know, people like, you know, they get flustered when you talk about money in church when Jesus was doing that all the time. It's a little bit, the phrase "put your money where your mouth is a little bit crass, and I even said it in the service yesterday. I kind of regret it, but it is like we sing like, "Oh Lord, I want to praise you with my whole life," you know, and we read scripture together like, take all of me, O Lord, and then people they won't let their money follow what their words are saying. Well, and that's a scary thing. Like people think that we might be talking about building a building, but we're talking about people's spiritual health.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I've told this story so many times, but it is such an impactful memory. I can see the old babushka, the old grandmother, who came up to me in Ukraine. We had helped them build a church. North Carolina helped them build a church. I was president of the North Carolina Convention at the time, and we got them so far, and we let them do the rest. And they had finished it up, and I was back, and they wanted to kind of do a celebration of opening the church and
beautiful, yeah.
everything like that. And this little old, they call them babushkas,
Yeah.
came out the door and was doing this. And she had
Yeah.
holes in her teeth. It's where she went and had the gold removed out of her teeth to give to the church.
That's beautiful.
And you just stop and think, good Lord have mercy. I
Gave it all.
I stand up and sing, I surrender all, and I don't even surrender 5%, you know. And this little old woman, but there were numbers of them, because I asked the preacher, I said, you know, excuse me, but what is she doing? And he said, she's showing you that she took the gold out of her tooth to give to the
That's
church
beautiful.
to help pay it off. You know? That's a moving experience when you sit. I mean, it's a convicting. But they're so cute, those little old ladies with the scarves tied around their head.
This is where a lot of the people in Alabama say it's a good thing that we weren't asked to give teeth here, because a lot of people don't have teeth to give.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. That's right. That's what they say.
Not
I
funny.
don't say that, but that's what they say.
That's what they say. I was really glad that
Have
Joanne
you,
is booing
have you
me.
noticed how stoic they are this morning?
It's somehow almost as stoic as the congregation was for your sermon yesterday.
No. What was the deal?
It was dead. I was out there laughing. I was like, you know, I was joking. I was like, "Pastor's on fire today." No response.
What in the
Zero
world?
response. And you could hear a pin drop, which meant that you could hear every word that my daughter was saying the whole time talking. And
I
was just
didn't
like,
hear.
Please
I
be
didn't
quiet.
hear.
No, you're locked in. But I was really glad that you decided to do this Haggai message. When you walked in on Tuesday, and you were like, "Yeah, I got to change them," I was like, "Really?" Because you know the thing's called the Joseph Project.
Yeah, I know.
But it seemed like you said that you didn't say it in the first service. We said in the second service, like from the Spirit, you discerned like that we weren't quite on the same page about like the commitment we were being called to.
You know, I thought about it. It's not the commitment. It was just the order of everything seemed to be so hard to come to.
Yeah, good.
And I
yeah.
kind of thought, you know, Lord, why is there such confusion about this? Because I am convinced God's not the God of confusion.
Correct.
And so I just wondered why. And I just wanted to do something that would pull us all to the same kind of thought about this. So that's why I went back to the office then, and I started looking, and I came to this passage, not even thinking about it. And I came to this passage, and I thought, oh, here's a great word. I started looking at, I don't know how I came to it, honestly. I can't even remember now how I came to this passage.
Well, there's so many strong points that come out of this, and I'll start with some of the later ones first, which is that, like, in the midst of all of this building and everything that's happening, in the midst of Israel's disobedience, the need for the temple reconstruction, you talked about these other historical figures that are currently being prepared by God at the same time. Talk about that again, because I think that's incredibly strong.
At this exact time that he's doing this, to nobody, because this is all happening in either back in Babylon or in Persia. You've got Ezra, who is in Babylon preparing about 5 to 7 to 8, it depends on who you read, about that many more Jews to come. Now that's been the big question, is why did more Jews not come back?
Yes, great
question.
It's
because, and I didn't even talk about this, it's because they had gotten so comfortable in Babylon.
Yeah.
We get so comfortable in our own Babylons that we don't even go, and God's will is for all the Jews, now I'll even say this now, God's will is that all Jews be in the land of Israel.
That's a complete...
Now, I don't want to deport anybody, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that's the desire of God. That's what you read in Scripture.
I thought it was, I think just what you said in passing there about how we get comfortable with our own Babylon, I mean, that's an entire message worth preaching at some point. Because it's the truth, that we get lulled to sleep with the easy culture around us. And that's what they had. Like, this was going to be a hard thing, to go out on a limb, to give everything that they had, physically and financially, in order to see the temple reconstructed. And I guess that's potentially why they were resisting it. Talk about this thing with the wood panels, Pastor, because that is wild to me, that they were taking the materials that were dedicated. Is that true? Was that just one commentator?
Well, that's one commentator that I came across, a good commentator. And it makes a lot of sense because you go down there, he says, go up to the mountains, bring wood, and rebuild the temple. Well, they had to have had wood there because they were working on the foundation, and they were going to go up with that, but then they just stopped.
Mm-hmm. And then he says
they stopped for
paneled
16
houses.
to 18 years, somewhere right in there. And so where did they get the wood for the panel houses? Well, they had all the wood that was there to rebuild the temple. Just use that.
Yeah, because
we'll go get more later. Just use this for
the construction had stopped in other ways. Last night at the business meeting, you gave a really helpful follow-up word about like what the temple looked like when it was finally done. And I know we had more than 1,000 people at the business meeting, so it's not worth repeating this probably. But for our online
but we
viewers,
did have a good crowd.
It was a good crowd. It's just always funny to me how, we tell people come and vote on the budget, but if people trust us, I think that's the main takeaway.
I hope they do. I hope we've earned their trust.
Which is why both you and me are getting those Rolls Royces in January. Just voted on last night.
Yeah. Well, in chapter 3 of Ezra, verse 12 and verse 13, it's really, I think this is meant to be somewhat comical.
Okay.
I think it's a little Hebrew comedy.
A little Hebrew humor.
Yet many of the priests and Levites and heads of the fathers' households, the old men who had seen the first temple, wept with a loud voice when they saw the foundation of this house, because it was not as elaborate. It was not as glorious. It was not as decorative. It was not as large as Solomon's temple. They wept with a loud voice when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, while many shouted aloud for joy. Now what you've got the generational difference here.
Yes.
The old men who remember Solomon's temple, they saw it destroyed, they were carried into captivity. They lived through 70 years of captivity.
That's incredible.
These are old men.
Yeah.
And they come out the other side. And I think Haggai was one of them. I believe Haggai was probably one of those guys who was that old.
Wow.
He starts preaching in his very old age, or we pick up him preaching there. So they remembered the old team, and they wept because it was just not what they had remembered, and it was not as great. But the young people were excited. There was, all of this joy that was there, so that the people could not distinguish the sound of the shout of joy from the sound of weeping of the people. For the people shouted; they were so loud that the sound was heard far away, so that people far away heard. We live on the lake is right there around our house.
Yeah, okay.
And way back over, you can see the lights of Met Park.
Yeah.
And on Friday nights during football season, you can hear the band playing, you can hear the roar of the crowd and all of that. That's what I thought of when I read that, is they can hear. What are they doing? Did somebody score? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it a bad call or whatever? And so the people that were far away, are these people crying? I thought I heard crying. No, I think I hear them shouting for joy. It was sending such a mixed signal, and my thing was, let's don't send mixed signals out of this church. Let's all be committed to the praise of the Lord.
Well, and that's ultimately what we're looking for. Like, if we're looking to do these special projects, the biggest one obviously is the addition to the building. We want that to end in praise to the Lord.
Yeah.
We want it to be a tool used for discipleship. We want that to end in praise to the Lord. Yeah, we don't want to be confused about this.
No, and there are other ministry projects that we are really wanting to do, and I think so much about the one for Jamie for the children downstairs, because they need it. I go down there and it's just so dark to me.
Yeah.
But unless I've got big lights, everything is dark.
Yeah.
At this point, but
people don't realize how big this light is for Pastor.
They
right
really
here.
don't.
It's a mood lighting. We just do it to keep.
Did y'all see the moon this week?
It was great this week. We do this just to keep him happy because we love him so much. Just to put the biggest lights in here. But it is important, changing that space, making it brighter, making it easier for people to find their classrooms.
The day spa for the creative department that y'all put in.
And we already mentioned the Rolls Royces. These are incredibly important initiatives that the church is
y'all thought we were building a warehouse out there. That's the day spa for.
I thought that was your new parking garage.
For the creative staff here. Y'all got a sauna and
it really is going to be great. I've got the cucumbers cut already. But the Joseph Project, we're joking. We jest too much, I guess.
Sure
We're having too much fun. It's been too long since we've been together. We need to.
Well, how about the Ravens?
Don't ask me that today. That was terrible yesterday. Did you watch any of that?
Well, listen, that's what I go through every week.
Yeah, that's true. The Cowboys have just been a dumpster fire this year. Jared's got his Broncos Nation hat on. Yeah. Bo Nix. I'm just grateful that he had those 10 years of preparation in college so that he'd be ready for the NFL.
They had some guy Saturday that was playing was a 7th-year senior, and Debbie said, "I have never heard of that before in my life."
It's professional sports. It's just
college football.
It's just so dumb.
This is his 7th year here at the University of Texas. They're not educating that boy.
The takeaway from he's making his money though. I'm proud of him.
It's in his 9th year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Stetson Bennett.
I have never heard of that before.
Stetson
I just
Bennett
thought
the fifth
after
has
your
already
5th
started.
year, we'll give you 1 year beyond the 4th. After your 5th year, you got to get out of here.
That's a lot of victory laps.
Are some of them doing masters and stuff though?
Yeah, that's what.
Some of them have the patch on their jersey. It's like NCAA Masters kind of thing.
Walk on at Cambridge.
Yeah, do a walk on a Cambridge. That's a great. I've heard you'd be great on the D line.
Yeah. Those guys kick each other's teeth out over there. No, I don't.
Well,
want
if any
that.
teeth fall out, we know now we can donate them to the church.
Yeah. Yeah, if they had gold in them.
The takeaway from that Ravens game is you never know what's going to happen in a divisional game. Anytime you have a rivalry game, it's like it doesn't, anything else in the season doesn't matter. It's just something. Anyway, so they lost 18-16.
I sent him a clip of Ray Lewis.
Killing Chad Ochocinco.
From Cleveland.
I love that one.
I mean, the guy
Cincinnati.
just is over on. He's kneeling there. I ran into Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis didn't even do anything. He just stands
He's
there.
about to cry. I ran into Ray Lewis.
That's one of my favorites. Ochocinco just getting completely laid out by Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis, who basically just moves his wrist a little bit, and then
Ochocinco. That's one of those Floridian names.
It
sounds like that came from.
Did he come from?
Indian,
Where's
Indian
Chad
tribe
Chad Johnson? Where's he from? I don't know. He's got a show now with Shannon Sharp. He's funny. He's also got like the Gary Busey teeth. His teeth are just so. Maybe he should donate his teeth. They're just so obviously fake. Hey, this has been a lot of fun, Pastor. Thank you.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Thanks for the
Glad
good
you're
time.
finally back.
I'm glad to be back. Thanks for making fun of my Ravens and making me feel good to start.
Well,
the
I
day.
had Joe one Monday morning. She interviewed me, and then Barry interviewed me, and then one Monday we just said, forget it.
Yeah. Well, but you and me were both out last week, so it didn't really work. How did Barry do? I just
Good. You know, Barry's all business.
He's
You know,
yes.
it's
He gets down to business.
He comes with his game face.
I respect that about him. I need to put my game face on.
Joe
more
comes
often.
in to harass and embarrass me.
Well, Joe also comes in with a lot of preparation.
Let me go to some website she gets on with
Yeah,
all these
That's right.
questions that nobody.
And if
who
you-
was Elizabeth's
Yeah.
third cousin that ruled
Yeah.
Harponia?
And if you criticize her, she slams her computer shut in frustration, just walks away.
and that's
Good luck, Monica.
You think this fits in?
This is. I know, Pastor's dripping today. This is legit.
what am I doing?
It's a good fit. You look really
Oh,
good.
Thank you.
You
well,
look
I
really
try.
good. It's all staff.
I
you know.
try.
Are the shoes
These are-
happening?
these
The
are-
shoes are happening too. Wow.
These are Wolf and Shepherd.
I love it.
I love them,
But
they're too stupid expensive.
yeah, that's why you got to.
That's why I
get
don't
them on
have
sale.
a 12 pair.
This is your personal closet.
No,
This-
I don't. I
Warehouse
don't.
over here. Hey, this has been fun. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night. Say goodbye, Pastor.
Goodbye, Pastor. Oh, golly. What a way to start the week.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Well, I'm going to have to go into all the men and confess today that I did not read my section in the devotional book.
Oh boy.
This has been a week. I lived at the hospital this week.
Boy, yeah, you had a lot.
You got 13 minutes